Welcome to the Founders Code, the channel where we uncover the real stories behind the world's most powerful companies and the people who built them. Not the polished success stories you usually hear, but the strategy, the risks, and sometimes the chaos behind billion-dollar empires. Today's story sounds almost unbelievable. Imagine building one of the most used apps on the planet, an app that millions of people open every single day, an app that competes with giants owned by companies like Meta Platforms and Google. Now imagine running that entire platform with a team so small it could fit inside a single classroom. No massive offices, no thousands of employees, just a small group of engineers quietly running one of the most powerful messaging platforms in the world. That platform is Telegram, and the man behind it is Pavel Durov. But to understand how Telegram became what it is today, we have to go back to a time before the app even existed, before the billions of messages, before the global user base. We have to go back to Russia in the early days of social media, when a young programmer was building something that would make him both famous and controversial. In the mid-2000s, social media was rapidly spreading across the world. Platforms were connecting people in ways that had never existed before. In the United States, Facebook was exploding in popularity. In China, new platforms were emerging. And in Russia, one social network quickly became the center of the online world. It was called VKontakte, often simply known as VK. The platform was created by Pavel Durov, a young entrepreneur who quickly gained a reputation for being brilliant, stubborn, and extremely independent. VK grew at an incredible speed. Millions of users joined the platform, using it to connect with friends, share media, and communicate online. Within a few years, it became the largest social network in Russia. Many people started calling Pavel Durov the Russian version of Mark Zuckerberg. But there was one major difference. While many tech founders focused on working closely with governments and investors, Durov had a completely different attitude. He believed strongly in freedom of information and user privacy. That belief would soon put him in direct conflict with powerful authorities. As VK became more influential, government officials started paying attention. Social media platforms had become powerful tools for organizing protests and spreading political ideas. Authorities began requesting access to certain user data. At one point, government officials demanded that VK hand over private information about users connected to political protest movements. Durov refused.
No way.
He believed that giving governments access to private conversations crossed a line. That decision would change everything. Pressure started building around him and around the company he created. Investors became nervous. Political pressure increased. And eventually Durov lost control of VK. The platform he built was taken over by new ownership, and the founder who created it was forced out. For many entrepreneurs, that would have been the end of the story. Losing control of a company you built from the ground up can destroy careers. But for Pavel Durov, it became the beginning of something much bigger. After leaving Russia, Durov began working with his brother, Nikolai Durov. Nikolai was a brilliant mathematician and programmer who had helped build the technical foundation behind VK. Together, they started thinking about a new kind of communication platform. They wanted to build something that could not easily be controlled by governments or corporations. Something fast, secure, and independent. That idea became Telegram. Telegram launched in 2013. At first, it looked like just another messaging app trying to compete in an already crowded market. Apps like WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger were already dominating global communication. Most people assumed Telegram would simply become another small player in the messaging world. But the Durov brothers had a very different vision. Instead of building a giant corporate company with thousands of employees, they focused on building extremely efficient technology. The goal was simple: keep the company small, keep the platform fast, and avoid the heavy corporate structure that slows down many tech companies. While companies like Meta hire tens of thousands of employees across multiple departments, Telegram decided to stay lean. Reports have suggested that the core team behind Telegram has been only around 30 engineers at certain points in its history. Think about that for a moment. A messaging platform used by hundreds of millions of people being maintained by a team smaller than many startups. That sounds impossible, but the reason it works is because of how Telegram was designed from the very beginning. The platform was built with scalability in mind. The infrastructure allows the system to handle massive traffic without needing huge teams constantly managing it. Many processes are automated, and the engineers who work on Telegram are highly specialized. Another unusual decision was how the company approached money. Most technology companies depend heavily on advertising. Advertising is the main revenue engine behind platforms owned by Meta and Google. But Telegram avoided advertising for many years. Pavel Durov believed that ads could eventually compromise the privacy of users. Instead, he funded the growth of Telegram largely from his own wealth. Reports suggest he spent hundreds of millions of dollars keeping the platform running while it continued to grow. This approach made Telegram very different from most tech companies. There were no flashy headquarters, no massive hiring waves, and no complicated layers of management. The company remained small and focused, but as Telegram grew larger, new challenges began to appear. Because of its strong privacy features and encrypted communication options, Telegram became attractive to people who valued secure communication. Journalists, activists, and communities around the world started using it heavily. But at the same time, governments began worrying that encrypted messaging platforms could make it harder to monitor certain activities. Over the years, several countries attempted to regulate or even block Telegram entirely. Despite these challenges, the platform continued to expand. Telegram gradually evolved from a simple messaging app into a full communication ecosystem. Users could create massive, public channels where information could be broadcast to thousands or even millions of followers. Large groups allowed communities to gather and discuss topics in real time. Businesses began using Telegram to communicate with customers. Content creators started building entire audiences through Telegram channels. The platform slowly transformed into something much larger than a basic chat application.